I see some weird shit in Arizona. I've got a place right on the edge of the desert, down in the valley, and a really nice concrete cabin right on the edge of the forest in Flagstaff. One thing they both have in common are coyotes. There are shitloads of coyotes that live right on the edges of civilization. They thrive there, scavenging and eating people's pets. When I'm in the valley, I like to go on walks during full moons. It's so bright outside that you can almost see perfectly, and the sun isn't beating you down constantly. This was one such night, and I decided to go out. I followed the wash out to the canal, which has 3 trails next to it that extend out into the desert, and I decided to take the one that meanders out away from the canal into the wilderness proper. After a mile or so, the trail does a 90-degree turn when it meets the Indian reservation border. You're not supposed to go in there, but people do all the time. The views were spectacular. Nothing like seeing the red rock formations on the horizon with that pale moon glow to them. I wasn't liking the idea of taking my eyes off the scenery in order to navigate through the desert, so I stayed on the trail. I could hear a pack of coyotes pretty close by, doing their crazy howling, yipping thing that they do when they tear a cat apart or something. I didn't care. Coyotes are pussies, and they never attack humans. I kept walking, scanning the horizon for owls or something else interesting. I look over the shoddy barbed wire fence that's a border to the reservation, and I see a pack of coyotes, not 200 feet away. There are lots of fairly deep dips in the trail, so it makes sense that I didn't see them until now. I freeze to watch, and the moonlight illuminates things pretty clearly for me, in a colorless way. I notice one of the coyotes seems way bigger than the other ones, and more than that, it just looks really fucked up, and isn't moving properly. At first, I think it's a dead dog or something and they're eating it, which made sense, the way they were all milling around in a circle around it. I stared with morbid curiosity as the coyotes seemed to take turns looking back at me. Then, the thing stands up, which scared the shit out of me, thinking that it was dead, and even more because it stood onto its hind legs and was at least 5 feet tall. As it raised its arms into the air, I realized that this was a person, or at least looked like one. He was wearing coyote pelts all over his body and was carrying some darkly colored dead animal in one of his hands that the coyotes kept leaping and trying to get at as he raised it into the air. I had no fucking idea what to do at that point. I knew coyotes weren't really dangerous, but this guy was obviously completely insane. He was inside the reservation, so I guess he had to be a native doing some crazy goddamn Indian thing. I'd only been standing there for a few seconds at this point when he realized his coyotes were looking at something and then turned towards me. The moonlight wasn't enough to make out his face, and it was shadowed by pelts anyway. He just stared at me for a second or two as the coyotes walked in circles around him, looking at him, then looking at me, then at him again. He turned away from me and bolted in the desert, sprinting and jumping, and doing a nearly perfect coyote yipping noise, which started the rest of them doing it.